Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, entrepreneurs, community leaders, artists, entertainers, and we will learn from them all about their successes, their challenges, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brooke, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today we have a special treat. Now, I have known this lady for a while, but this is my first time seeing her in person. So help me welcome Melissa Bautista from Lil Red Wagon. I got it right?
You did. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I said your name sounds like it should be in a novel.
Yes,
it's got such a rhythmic sound to it.
It's definitely better than my maiden.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you are not just a food truck owner, which I'd love to talk about. You also have a travel business. So you are just a multipreneur, right?
Yes, I am. I love it. I do what I love, and I happen to have a love for travel as much as I do food. So I put them together, and here we are.
That is great. So let's start by talking about Lil Red Wagon. Now, how long have you been in business with Lil Red Wagon?
Lil Red Wagon opened in August of 2019. We started out part-time. We were just working on the weekends, and we had our 9 to 5s. And then when COVID hit in March of 2020, we needed to pivot quickly to find different kinds of work. And we had Lil Red sitting in there as a side hustle and decided to try it out and go full-time.
So you were employed, and then the jobs had some uncertainty because of COVID?
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you know what? I never really thought about that, but there's probably a lot of people who were sort of pushed to becoming entrepreneurs during COVID.
I think there was quite a few. A lot of people, I think that's where the small businesses really started to bloom back up. Billings has a great community of small business owners, and the community of Billings itself loves to support small business. So I think that in 2020 that really helped a lot of businesses actually grow.
Well, and what inspired you to do a food truck? It seems like a lot of work.
Yes, so yeah, anybody who's thinking about getting into the food truck business, it's not just as easy as cooking. We definitely, we cooked for groups of people. We used to have people over all the time to play cards and do those kinds of things, 20 to 30 people, and we'd cook for them all the time. And then finally one day somebody who used to run some restaurants down in California told us, he's like, you know, this is quality. You could sell this. And so we kind of started playing with the idea, didn't know what we were going to do with it. And then kind of looked at restaurants and looked at maybe even opening in a bar, doing some different things. And then my husband started scrolling on Facebook like people do, and he found some food trucks and some food truck pages, and we just started building from there. Just had an idea and started the research and drove all the way to Omaha to get our first trailer.
Wow.
It was used,
yeah,
and it was rough around the edges, but it did what it needed to do, and Lil Red just kind of took off from there.
Was it a little scary starting a business like this? I mean, did you have experience in the restaurant business before?
Not like this, no.
Okay.
I had serving experience.
Okay, sure.
I worked at a pizza parlor in high school, so I had
Me
maybe
too.
been in the kitchen like that. But it was all mostly home cooking. That's what we had, and that was like one of our connections when we started dating, was that we both loved to cook. So that was just kind of one of those things. But as we started out, we learned that you have to have more than just the love to cook to run a business.
Right.
So there's a lot of ins and outs of it that I think from behind the scenes that people don't see. It's definitely, you set your own schedule. That was the most exciting part. It was like, yes, we get to set our own schedule. No more 9 to 5. Now it's more like 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., 6 days a week.
I love that. Yeah. It's like real estate. People are like, oh, you get to control your own schedule. Yeah, pretty much I can work all the time when people want me to.
Yeah, I just pick up the phone. That's where we go.
Well, and so what kind of food do you serve in Lil Red Wagon?
So we do steak sandwiches, cheesesteaks. Our original, how we first started was with our Montana cheesesteak, not to be confused with a Philly. That's where we always remind people that, you know, we're in Montana. So Philly cheeses have the shaved beef, and we actually get our beef hand cut into strips, like not chicken strips, into steak strips. And that's how we started out with doing it that. So it's not, it's really tender steaks, and then we just built off of that. So now we have 5 different sandwiches, steak nachos, tacos, salad. We just kind of build from there.
So what's on the Montana steak?
The Montana
sandwich?
cheese steak, it comes with 2 slices of American white cheese, our steak strips, a cheddar cheese sauce, and sauteed onions. And then we have fresh cut red bell peppers and jalapenos if you'd like.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you also have other sandwiches. You have some salad if people want a little side of something.
Yep, we have the salad. You can get a garden salad or a steak salad. And then we also do a protein bowl. And so that really has, and it sounds all fancy, and it's literally all that is it's just steak and cheese.
So it's the sandwich without the bread,
Exactly.
basically.
So before we were calling it the low carb bowl in 2019, 2020, when everybody was on their low carb kick. And now that everybody's on their protein kick, just change the name.
Smart. Smart.
Yes.
I get that. So when you first started, I mean, what was the biggest challenge to getting started? I mean, once you got the truck, and you know, there's some challenges with getting set up.
Getting known in the community. I think that was the hardest. Then we didn't have any community connections. Our jobs didn't require us to be so involved in the community, so we didn't know where to even start to set up. And then we slowly started just calling businesses and introducing ourselves and walking in and saying, hey, you know, we have Lil Red Wagon. We see you have an open parking lot. What do you think? And they would start letting us in. For the longest time, we had one setup, and it was up in the Heights at Bugsy's Bar. And the Swains were great for us. They let us set up whenever we wanted, and they helped promote us a lot. So that was really nice. And then as we got to be known by other businesses in town, same thing. They would help promote us and tell other people about us. But that was probably the hardest, is finding places to set up, because you can't just roll up somewhere and set up. You need to have permission, and you can't sell from the street. So you have to be in a parking lot. So that was the other. So like I can't roll up to Billings Clinic and actually set up on the street. We have to be in a parking lot.
Right.
And that's why we're grateful that they bought Cherry Tree Inn, and now food trucks can set up. Well, we were setting up at Cherry Tree Inn, but they reopened it so we can set back up there for their staff.
Well, and I would imagine you have to figure out where the best place is to be. Obviously, when you're getting started, you just need a place. Yeah, and you're not probably like thinking too much, like how much traffic is there, but you eventually need to figure out how to make it work, right?
You do. And that's where Facebook comes in a lot. That's why you'll see a lot of us, and definitely I know for sure us, we're on Facebook all the time. You know, that's how we promote where we are. We go to places that have big enough parking lots so that we're not disrupting a business, and people can still come to us. And we try to use central locations.
Okay.
Or locations that people, you know, in your head where it's at. Like if we said we were on the corner of 14th and Grand, people would stop and think. But if we say we're at Harbor Freight or O'Reilly's on Grand, then they know where we're at.
Well, and I would imagine like people get to know you and then they seek you out, right? Is that how it works?
That's
Okay.
the best. It is the best. So we were just gone for 3 weeks, and one of our regulars came today, this afternoon, and he was just, I found you guys. He's like, I've been looking, and he's a great customer. He comes once a week, gets 2 sandwiches for himself for lunch and dinner, but he just, yeah. So when we have those followings, and we have quite a few of them, depending on what side of town we're going to be at, that like us, and they share our posts, and we have a great regulars on our.
Well, and then there's a food truck page, right, in Billings that
There is.
a lot of people post on. A lot of the food trucks post.
Yes, we have Billings Food Truck Tracker that almost all the food trucks post on. your regular food trucks here in town who are doing lunches and dinners, you'll almost always see them on Facebook. And then we actually have a volunteer, Tracy Kelly, who takes all our schedules and then makes one big post every day of where the trucks are going to be from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m.
Wow.
So she takes that part on for all the food trucks, and we are very thankful for her so that all the customers in Billings can go and see and just look at one post and be like, oh, I'm going to be, down at Les Schwab today. That's where we were at. Or maybe, I have to go stop at Bitterroot Sip and Paint and grab up some paint supplies. I'll stop and grab lunch right there, kind of thing.
Well, and I would imagine too that different food trucks probably work different hours, right? Like some people maybe work lunch, some people maybe are late night dinner after the bars kind of are open.
So we have, what I've noticed for Billings is we have a lot of lunch and dinner trucks, and then we do have some that do just dinner. And then there are a couple that are doing the bar scenes
right
after closing. A lot of us do the breweries and stuff, and then there are a couple that do the after the bar scene closeout night. And that is something that we are working out to do this summer ourselves.
Okay. Wow, that's late hours.
It's late hours.
Or early hours, depending on how you look at it.
Well, yeah. My thought process on that is if we can serve dinner, or if we can get the late night crew, and then from there we can move into making breakfast burritos. Because we also do breakfast burritos. We can do our breakfast burritos and then maybe cut out sometimes that lunch and then just do the dinner for the summer hours, just to get through the summer. We only have 3 really good months to do that. So,
what has been the most rewarding thing about having your food truck business?
I think for us, it's just the community. It's meeting people and watching people's children grow. It's crazy. When we started out, and we've got a little. Thought he was a little boy, preteen, getting ready, to go to t-ball, or them coming after t-ball practice, and now he's running track in high school and he's setting records, and you're like, how did that happen? Because we get to see them only a few months out of the year, and it's kind of great just to kind of watch the community and have those regulars. And the other things we do in the community that like we do a lot of things for addiction, suicide prevention. We just joined, or I myself just joined up with Relay for Life. So getting involved in the community is really what Lil Red has brought for us individually. It's just to be part of a community that we never knew existed.
Yeah, because you're doing your job and you're coming home and doing your thing at night, and now you're out and about and having to connect
and making those connections
to make your business work. Well, I would imagine it's also tough to kind of manage your inventory. Was that a challenge to kind of figure out?
Inventory was definitely a challenge at first. That's especially we use fresh meat every day, so we don't order any frozen product. So with that, comes with seeing like how much you're going to need for the next we usually do every 2 days, putting in our order so we have meat ready in the morning to go, but that took probably the longest of how much do we need, and it got a little bit easier when we figured out our portion control, to figure out like if we put a half a pound of beef on, it's a lot easier to figure it out. But yeah, that is probably the biggest is inventory with fresh meat. But we have a great butcher at the Rebergen Grand, Albertsons.
Oh, okay.
Him and his Robert is his name. Him and his crew, they hand cut our beef for us every day.
Wow.
Into the strips that we need. So that was a blessing in its own. For a while there, my husband was cutting the meat himself by hand every day because we didn't want to use frozen.
Right.
And so that, after a while, he was saying his back was hurting, his hands were hurting, and isn't there another way to do this?
Now you have the whole butcher department.
Yeah, we have a whole butcher department that does it for us, and we are very thankful.
So what times of year do you operate then? Do you just pretty much do spring, summer, fall?
And that is great. We do it all.
Really? So you do it in winter too?
We do it in the winter too. The coldest we opened up before is 5 degrees. There was a wrestling tournament in town, and the wrestling moms from another town wanted to get together, so one of the local CrossFit gyms opened up for them, and they had us come and feed them all. So that was really awesome. But we do as long as it's, we try to say nothing below 20 degrees, but that never works. Because, there's an event going on. You really need to show up for those.
Right.
We showed up for an event right before we left. So in March, it was in Red Lodge, ski joring in Red Lodge.
Oh,
and
cold there.
It was
Yes.
the first day was nice and it was warm, and then out of nowhere there was a blizzard, and we drove home and we were like, oh gosh, I don't know if we're gonna make it back.
Oh.
And we got up in the morning and we're watching the roads, and the roads are, it says icy and snow packed, and I think it was 7 degrees when we left our house. We're like, okay, we'll just take it slow. We'll get there. They'll be happy that we got there. And it was a blessing that we showed up, because unfortunately a couple of the other trucks couldn't make it from where they had to drive from. So,
oh, sure.
Yeah, so it was kind of, we got up there, we really try to stay committed to the event. So if we have a guys pop up for lunch, we might cancel that, but if a brewery needs us or if there's an event, we will be there.
So it sounds like people are reaching out to you now.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is another great thing that has happened is we're no longer door knocking. People are knocking on our door instead, and that's nice that people are reaching out to us and are having us come back every year.
Wow. Well, that's a testament, right? And the other thing you shared is that you kind of made some changes in your lifestyle to be able to move forward with a truck. I mean, that's a pretty big commitment, right? You sold your house.
Yes.
And downsized. And
yes. So when we started our business, we downsized. We sold our home and bought a smaller one. And then we sold our camper. We sold my car. And just to get everything down, because we didn't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. And with us, my husband's girls were already grown, so that was a plus side for us. We didn't have to worry about making sure that the girls had a roof over their head, even though we still needed a roof over our head, but it was okay for us to live in a smaller house now that they were moved out. So that was, we made a lot of changes on how we lived our life. And now it's funny, now that even where we are now with our business and how successful we've been, we still just kind of keep our same living habits of doing minimal things, and then just saving our money and going on trips.
Well, it kind of reminds me of like some of these closet millionaires that, they drive an old car and they live in the house they've lived in for 40 years and nobody would even know, because they just are used to their lifestyle.
You just get
and there's
used
nothing
to
wrong with that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we like it that way. We're like, we just like life simple.
Right. Well, and then it sounds like because you had a simpler life and you've created some success with your food truck, you've been able to enjoy some amazing adventures.
Yes. My husband and I love to travel. We love to do any kind of travel. When we first got together, it was camping, camping and traveling Montana and seeing those kinds of things. And then when we got married, we started traveling to Mexico. And it just kind of started from there. We kind of started finding different things that we wanted to go do and places we wanted to see. From there, I guess it would be last year, I started my own travel business with L&M World Travels. And it's just been, we do all kinds of, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. We do a lot of traveling and focused around travel. That's where I think we found our happiest place, is when we're traveling abroad and seeing other things.
But because you started this business and you simplified, and then you go, well, maybe I don't need it that complicated. Maybe I just want to enjoy some time to explore the world and have some fun doing other things instead of, you know, I guess being burdened by a big house payment.
Exactly. Yes, that is what it is. You know, we don't live a debt life. Like we're not house poor.
Right.
That was something we've changed, like our thinking. We don't need that kind of stuff to be happier. We would much rather have the memories and take the pictures and be somewhere with each other than sitting in our house watching Netflix every weekend. Nothing against that. I know it's very relaxing for a lot of people.
Right.
But our weekends are filled with working. And so, you know, we get Mondays off and that's fine. But our life is very simple. Small house, used vehicles, thrift our clothes, and travel the world. That's what I tell people. Like it makes traveling a lot easier.
Well, and you just got back from an amazing adventure. You went to Fiji in Australia, and it sounds like you've been to Fiji at least 3 times, you said? 4 times?
Yeah, this was our 3rd visit to Fiji. Fiji is a beautiful island. They are islands. There's over 300 of them.
Oh my goodness.
But some of the kindest people you'll ever meet are in Fiji. I say that every time. They are just remarkable people. They are kind. They invite you into their homes. They want to. They're so happy with where they live that they want to spread that happiness. You know, we were talking with them. With one of our drivers about the current affairs, and he says, Fiji, it's so safe. He's like, you can just come live here for 5.5 months. And you could go and stay in Fiji in 5.5 months and then have to come back to the United States for the visa. But yeah, they're happy there. He says they have everything they need.
So what do you like to do when you're on Fiji other than meeting great people?
Meeting great people. So in Fiji, we do a lot of beach. We do beaches, and we do river tubing, zip lining, visiting the schools. You can go up into there's so many villages. I mean, like in one little, we were on an ATV ride, and in one little area that just from what we could see, there was over 60 villages.
Wow.
Yeah. So and the funny thing about Fiji is that you can't marry from your own village, because your own village is your family. So you have to go to another village, and it's usually like on the other side of the island to
meet somebody.
To meet someone. It's almost, you know, kind of like a small town. you can't date anybody in the small town. But it's interesting, and how they make things themselves, and you know, they drink kava, which is kava is here in Billings now. And it's a relaxing drink for them that they can drink. It's a ceremonial drink. And so if you get invited to have kava with them, that's something big, because for them, that's them welcoming you into their community and letting you know that you're now family.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've had a couple of those where we're now family and part of their community.
Well, and then you had an adventure in Australia after, and
we did.
Looks like you had some beach time. Saw some kangaroos on your Facebook.
Yes, we went to Australia. We definitely will go back to Australia. We went to Gold Coast this time, and it was beautiful there as well. Lots of beaches, kangaroos. We got to go walk out with the kangaroos. So we went to a conservatory. So they were in their wild habitat, where you could walk the trails and go and see the kangaroos. Kind of like if you were going to go to Yellowstone, because there's no guarantee that you're going to see the kangaroos, but you might. And we did, and that was awesome. And there were definitely people there, just like here, where we say don't pet the fluffy cows, that I was pretty sure they wanted to pet the jumping deer, because they were so close to them. And I'm like, that's not what the sign says. And my husband and I kept our distance, but yeah, it was beautiful. And then we not hunted, but we went and looked for some koalas. twice and we had no luck. So then we went to a sanctuary and we're able to see some koalas.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're beautiful.
Oh, they're beautiful animals, and they have like the perfect life. They eat and sleep. That's all they do. Like like there's got to be something else that they're doing, like when we're not watching them.
Right.
And they're like, no, that's what they do. They eat and sleep.
And so your just joy of travel inspired you to start a travel business. So
yeah. So
how did that go?
You know, so we love planning our own trips and doing that. And in the winter of 24, winter of 25, last winter, things got really cold here, and so we had to shut down the food truck for about 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, that was the longest we'd ever been closed. And so we just started, wondering what could we do next. We're losing income right now. What's something that could make that up? And this was also happening while I was planning a trip with no income coming in. That my husband saw another friend of she's a friend of mine, and my husband didn't know. And Heidi had posted about her travel business.
Right.
And so my husband had reached out to her and said, "What do you think?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm friends with Melissa." And so we kind of just took some advice from Heidi on what to do and how to get started, and went from there. It's learning every day. But it's amazing. Sure. You get to learn so much, and then it just opens up like a whole nother network of people to meet and to communicate and learn about.
Well, it sounds like you are just such an extroverted person, and it sounds like your life now supports that.
I like to still consider myself an introvert.
Really? Okay.
I do. But I'm getting more out there.
Yeah.
I think that definitely opening up Lil Red Wagon definitely brought me out more than where I was 6 years ago.
It sounds like you love it.
I love it. I do love it. I like being not in the spotlight, but I like being part of the spotlight kind of thing.
And so what is the best place for people to find out about where you're going to be?
Best place is to find us on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Lil Red Wagon, Lil Red Wagon. That is the best place. We post on there every single day.
Okay.
And then we also post on Food Truck Tracker every single day.
Wow.
Or you can follow me on Facebook, because I post it on Facebook every single day.
And you post your wonderful trips too, which is so fun. I love it when people post about their trips. It just makes my heart happy to see them, experiencing the world, because it's such a joy to see other parts of this beautiful planet.
It is. I highly recommend that people travel more, even within the United States.
Sure.
There's so many different parts of the United States.
Oh yeah.
That people, I think, are not just quite aware of, like the just different culture all over. That we could go to Georgia and be completely different from what we have experienced up here.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa, it's been so fun getting to talk to you in person, and everybody, thank you so much for joining us on All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.